Hello everyone, I'm Professor Mehta from LG Institute of Technology and Engineering. Today in this session we will going to discuss about how the working of SolidWorks is done. SolidWorks is a platform where you can have your computer aided models, and it can also help you to render your part or design your part virtually on this particular platform. So for that, let's work on SolidWorks. When you start your SolidWorks, you will have this kind of window. In that particular window, you can have three options: part, assembly, drawing. As well as you will also have advanced option. At the same time, you can also have the previous SolidWorks parts which you have created in this particular platform. So for particular drawing or particular individual component or element, you can start with part option here. If you are not having that particular part option, then you can go for advanced, and from that also you can select this part option. Okay, so let's start with this part option. And when you are starting with part option, you will have this kind of window in front of you. Now, today we are going to discuss about sketch option or sketch feature in our SolidWorks. So before getting into sketch, you should know about basic commands or basic display units or display options for our SolidWorks. Here you can see a bar which can have this zoom fit. Okay, zoom fit is to have the fit exactly to your particular drawing. The zoom area to zoom into the particular area for your object. This previous view, then sectional view of particular object. Then you can have annotations, dynamic annotation to have annotation to your component. Then this is the orientation you can have from different perspective, orthographic as well as isometric. Then this is the display shaded view. Okay, what kind of view we require? Display shaded view, display view with model, wireframe view with hidden lines and all. And this is one of the most important part of our SolidWorks module, where you can have facility to have showing planes as well as lines, and the hidden lines also you can have those angles and particular dimensions. Here we will unable to on our all three planes to draw or start up with our sketch. These two options are regarding to rendering and to provide particular color to our object. So let's start with the sketching. So for that, first of all, you have to select one of the plane. Then after selecting that plane, you have to select the sketch option. After selecting the sketch option, you will have two-dimensional view of your particular plane. Now you can say here, this is the smart dimension. Smart dimension can have different dimension respective to your construction. To construct this object, you will have different options like line, rectangle, line. There are multiple types of line. One is solid line, center line, midpoint line. So let's start with the line. Here, so line is always select. When you are starting with line, always start it from origin to fully define your or fully constrain your sketch. So from origin point, you will start your line. You can have this two two numbers. One is providing you its length, and another is the angle from your origin. Now when you are dealing with the length, you should know about what type of unit you are going to use. To understand what type of unit, here at the bottom you can have different types of unit system, where you can have meter, kilogram, second, mks, cgs, mmgs and ips. You can have any kind of unit system as per your requirements. So depending on your requirement, we can select mmgs, cgs, mks, any of it. Now let's start with this origin line will start from here. And after selecting or after having particular length, you can point it out, and to get out of that particular command, you can use escape button in your computer. Now provide particular length to this line. You can select smart dimension, then select that particular line, and you can have your smart dimension. By selecting smart dimension, you will have this kind of a window, and this kind of window will provide you exact dimension to your line. So I am having 50 distance to my particular line. So this will going to be my line. Then I will also have, and after providing this particular dimension, to get out of that command, you can use escape, as well as you can use this particular close dialog to get out of that smart dimension command. Clear? Here we can also use a different entities like square. Here we have square or rectangle. You can have this rectangle which is having corner rectangle, center rectangle, 3-point corner rectangle, 3-point center rectangle, or parallelogram. For a corner rectangle, we can have different types of corner rectangle where you can draw a rectangle from one corner to another corner. Here this is one kind of a rectangle. Then another rectangle which start from center. Clear? Center rectangle. Clear? And you can provide smart dimension to those rectangles like 51, 51 by 51 by 100. Clear? I'm doing this 100 by 51. So this is 100, and we can provide another dimension to the x-axis. We can provide it 150. So you can have different dimensions according to your convenience as well as requirement. So this was our rectangles. Clear? So let's delete this rectangle and move on to another type of entities from our bar, which is sketching module. Clear? And you can also exit from this particular sketch, or you can also start a new sketch from our particular uh, particular dialog box. Let's exit from this particular sketch. Now start once again to our sketch. Once again I will select this front plane, and I will have a different commands here. So now design a straight slot. I want to design a straight slot. This type of particular command will going to use for a machining of slots in some kind of components. This slots will provide you a slot in a component or a plate which is having dimension like this elliptical shape, where you can have this elliptical shape directly from this bar. Now same time you can provide the smart dimension to this particular shape, and you can have this for a particular required dimension like 100. Here so you can have that particular dimension, and this is the radius for that. So you can also have a radius for particular component. So this is our smart dimension, which can help you to draw this particular entity, which is called our straight slot. I hope you got this point perfectly. Now let's move on to another command or another object, which is called circle. So you can have the circle. There are different types of two types of circle. One is circle from center to its perimeter. Clear? Here you have to start it from, so exit sketch. Once again, if you are having the trouble with plane, then you have to just have to press your space bar in your keyboard, and you will have this particular command. And after that you can select isometric view. From isometric view, you can select particular plane. After selecting that particular plane, you will select the sketch, then you can directly get into the sketch. Now once again, we are going to have circle. Then circle can have two types of circle. One is center and radius. But after providing the center and radius, you will have this kind of dialog box here. You can directly select your radius according to your convenience or requirement. Here also you can change this particular radius from this smart dimension also. Clear? So both of the command we will going to have. I hope you got this point of circle. Now let's move on to arc. Arc is there are three types of arc we can have: center point arc, tangential arc, and 3-point arc. Center point arc is straight starting from the center to the its particular point. So we can have this kind of particular arc. Depends on our requirement. At the same time, you can have different types of arc. This is a polygon. You can draw this polygon from particular point to particular dimension. You can have its x-axis, y-axis, its dimension or a concentrated circle radius, as well as the angle between two sides. So you can construct this polygon from parametric point of view also. If you want to have 8 octagon, then you can have 8 side. If you want to have 10 side, you can have 10 side. You can have multiple side depending on your requirement. I hope you got this point once again. Clear? So getting out of this command, you can use escape point also. Clear? After selecting this, you can delete all of the particular particular entity you have drawn into this. And after getting for getting out of this sketch, you can select this exit sketch. I hope you got this point about this polygon also. Now talking about spline, there are multiple type of spline. Spline one is freehand spline, then spline with points, different points you have to define to draw your spline, then equation driven spline, and ultimately you can have a spline on a particular surface if you want to draw or if you want to cut particular spline on this surface. Clear? Then you can have ellipse for to design elliptical shapes for component or something like that. At the same time, you can have different entities or text on your drawing. You can insert that into your drawing also. So once again, let's start with a sketch in a front plane. We can have a particular sketch to our requirement. Let's start with the different types of sketch in two dimension. You can have a particular requirement of a sketch in two dimensions. So let's start with the one of the exercise for two dimensional sketch. I hope you got each and every point in this particular session about our command in sketch, as well as you can have dream entity. Like if I want to draw half circle, okay, if I want to draw a half circle which is having this kind of line inside, this kind of line inside, and a rectangle which is passing through it, uh, a rectangle which is passing through it, then I have to, if I want to delete the part inside from this particular two intersecting entity, then I can use this trim entity so that I can easily cut the unwanted part from two entities.